Earlier, we told you that the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has convicted the Director General of the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council, Doyin Okukwe, for violating the Money Laundering Act. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had arraigned Okukwe in 2019 on a 59-count charge bordering on alleged money laundering and diversion of funds to the tune of 702 million naira. He was arraigned before the presiding judge, Ijoma Ojukwu, alongside two companies, Value Trust Investment Limited and Abraham's Telecoms Limited. Okukwe was said to have received cash from the Office of the National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki, while he was special advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Well, the national chairman of the Labour Party, Julia Sabure, has decried the upsurge in the spate of assassinations of its party leaders and candidates across Nigeria. Abure described the situation as not only worrisome, but also a great threat to democracy. He lamented that members and supporters of the Labour Party had been victims of harassment, assault, and outright assassination. He described the latest killing of one of the party's House of Assembly candidates, Christopher Elehu, in Igbo State, as one too many. The LP chairman appeals to the federal government to provide police protection. And joining us now to discuss this development is the Labour Party spokesperson, Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Good to have you on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
In light of the assassinations, the targeted killings, and just the general violence, do you, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, do you believe that the security forces should be doing more, as it shows that, things are ramping up and election violence is really starting to pick up? This is worrisome. What do you have to say?
Well, it is more worrisome. As of last night in Kaura local government, from the information available to me, there was sporadic shooting, and then the killing has even gone beyond the position in which the national chairman has just told you. One Cletus Akuda, the PRO of Park Ward Kura local government, was also killed. And Levi Zakaria, a member of and the younger brother to our unit secretary in that particular area, was also killed. So that will account for like 4 persons already deposited in the morgue because they are Labour Party members. And we've sounded this alarm earlier on when it started from Lagos State. And when it started from Lagos State, we were being intimidated as regard to registering, collection of PVC, destroying of our billboards, and at the same time, there was intimidation both on cyber and then the killing of the Kaura local government women leader, which our teaming leaders visited yesterday in Kaura local government. It was at that point that they discovered that more than 2 persons or 1 or 2 persons were also killed in that regard. So for us, it's a continuous attack on the Labour Party and the obedient movement. And it clearly shows that we are being under siege because of our position, and then because the Nigerian youth have shown support for Peter Obi. And clearly, for us, it seems that it is not only the people that are just trying to dampen our morale and probably bring us down, because we have chosen a path of truth, a path of dedication, and a path of rescuing Nigeria from the shackles of poverty that we've already found ourselves. So with regard to your questions as regard to whether the security apparatus are doing enough, as far as we are concerned, nobody has been arrested or been convicted, or information have not been railed out to the public as regard to those who are behind this. And then we say this with due respect to some of the attacks we've received over the month, and then statements being accorded to our other political parties who clearly did not sign the peace accord that was signed on the 28th of September. And that, of course, sent a red flag to Nigerians that these people are not ready for a free and fair election And then we urge the federal government to quickly deal with these issues and then bring the culprit to book. Because anything short of that may force a lot of people to take arms and defend themselves. And that will not be good for every one of us. I said this at a meeting day before yesterday, the International Republican, at the Yaga conference meeting, and where we railed out all of these particular challenges, and we made it clear that it's not as if we cannot defend ourselves, but they shouldn't push us to the wall that we will have to come out in arms to defend ourselves. The attack is getting too many, and then no solution in the air, no resolutions as regard to some of the people who have been involved in this heinous crime, and it cannot continue. We cannot sit down and be killed one by one just because we want to run for elections. We are out for rescuing Nigeria, and in any way, those who are even involved in the killing should know that they are actually digging their own grave, because by trying to demarcate us or deter us or intimidate us will only make us popular, and they are the ones suffering at the end of it all. So we plead with the government to quickly come in as quickly as possible to arrest those who have been involved in this killing. And we also use this opportunity to call on the international community to look at it that Labour Party is under siege by the other political party just because we want a better Nigeria.
Well, very well said, Dr. Tanko. Talking about being under siege, like you earlier stated, it seems the Labour Party is facing a myriad of challenges. We just got breaking news that a federal high court in Abuja has convicted the Director General of the Peter Obi presidential campaign, that's Doyin Okupe, for violating the Money Laundering Act. Can you react to this?
Well, at the moment, as I'm coming to this studio, I have not received any information with regard to that particular judgment. And if it comes out, we have our legal team. We will look at it. We are a law-abiding political party. We will look at it and give appropriate action response to the issue. But at the moment now, this particular message met me on the way, so I have not in any way gotten any information from any of our legal team that's regard to the issue of whether our Director General has been convicted or not. So, but I can assure you we will make appropriate response immediately when we get this particular response legally.
Well, yes, it does seem like the Labour Party is a bit under attack, and there is a war also of, well, what should I call it, of perception. Now, with this alleged conviction, there would be the perception that maybe the Labour Party might be working a little bit harder to figure out how to make sure that they stay on the right side of the discussion. And speaking of the right side of discussion, it seems like the media was always going to concentrate on the APC and the PDP as the two major parties. But Labour Party, of course, has entered into the fold with Peter Obi's popularity. What plans does the Labour Party have in order to make sure that that discussion is continued all the way till February 2023 and that the votes amount to more than just social media popularity and discussions?
Well, you will agree with me that we are the largest growing political party at the moment in Africa. And that is totally because the Nigerian youth have vowed to vote for Peter Obi because he has synergized with them, he has connected with them based on his capacity, consistency, character, and accountability. He has shown this particular level of capability in terms of turning Nigeria from a consumer nation to a production nation. And that, of course, has attracted a lot of attack, both illegally and legally, from our opponent. They see us as a group of people who is trying to change the narrative from 133 million Nigerians in abject poverty, turning them into a prospective nation. That is exactly our crime. But we are not deterred by it. We will continue in our gospel in order to change Nigeria for the better, taking it out of docility to prosperity, taking it out of insecurity to a secured nation, making sure that Nigeria is no more ridiculed in the eyes of the international community, making sure that there's going to be room and employment for our teeming youth. And that, of course, is some of the promises that Peter Obi and Deti Baba Ahmed have made. And we will keep this particular discussion on the front burner. We will not change our modus operandi, but rather we will advance on it to keep the issue on the front seat and making sure that the Nigerian people see road into what we are trying to do and what Peter Obi is bringing to the table. He has shown completely different. He's not running a conventional politics. He's running an unconventional politicking and campaign based on issue to emancipate the Nigerian people from shackle of poverty. So every Nigerian who believes in this particular cause, as we usually say, there's an obedient in every household in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And in that case, if there is an obedient person in every household, we must join hands together to ensure that this particular gentleman come into power to put this country in the right path. So we will continue in that our discussions. We'll continue on issue base. We'll continue to mobilize. We'll continue to educate Nigerians and taking them out of the hands of this particular group of people who have taken us into a very bad, dark side of our lives. Nigeria cannot remain the same in this particular narrative. Rather, we will change it and make sure that Nigeria is better for the betterment of our unborn children. This we are determined, and we will show that we will ensure this. Make sure that after we voted for us in 2023, we will change the dynamics of Nigeria. This we will continue to do.
Now, Dr. Tanko, apart from attacks on your party members, we've also recorded attacks on INEC facilities, which have gone unchallenged. We don't know who the masterminds are. We don't know who those involved, who are those involved in the act. So are you worried, perhaps, that security, or should I say insecurity, might be an obstacle, regarding the 2023 elections?
Well, in 2015, we saw similar threat, even when the Northeast was also under siege, where even some of the local governments were under the control of the Boko Haram element. But that did not deter us from having an election. But we also know that they are trying to use the same tactics in trying to deny the right of the Nigerian people, circumventing the rule of law, and ensuring that they trample on the right of the people to vote for the person that they wanted in power. And so therefore, we are studying the situation. It seems to us the attack on INEC facilities were more domiciled in the area in which we have our stronghold, which is the southeast. And then we want to believe that there is a hands of those of the people in government trying to malign the people in the southeast to showcase that they don't want the election to take place. But then these are allegations, but which should be proven when the police and the army and all have been able to interrogate those that they arrested in Imo to come out clean to tell the Nigerian people who sent them. Because for a crime to be committed, somebody must have orchestrated it, somebody must have had it, somebody must have seen it, and somebody will suffer the brunt of all of the outcome of the crime that has been committed. So for us, there must be people who are behind this particular heinous crime against the Independent Electoral Commission. Don't forget, we have it on record that these people have also made attempt to derail and force the hands of the INEC Inter-Electoral Commission in order to manipulate the Beavers document. This was alluded to the chairman of the APC, who came out and said they are not sure whether APC, where the INEC will get internet in terms of using the Beavers. And I want to make it clear that at a point in time when we were leading the Inter-Party Advisory Council, it is the same political party who came against the PDP as at that time, saying that PDP is saying that they will not allow us to use the accreditation machine because there will not be a network. But we stood firm on the right of the democracy that we all believe in. We stood firm that that particular accreditation machine should be used, and it was used, and behold, they were the beneficiary of it. It is so appalling today that while some of them are staying in a restaurant outside the country, talking about maligning and saying that power is not gotten served by a la carte, you have to fight for it, you have to struggle for it, you have to snatch it if possible, clearly indicate that they are finding the answer of violence. But the question you want to ask is that these people, whenever they want to use ATM, they don't have problem of network. But now, because we want to have credible election, they are now claiming that probably the INEC will not have network in order to conduct elections. We will say no, and we will ask every Nigerian to say no. There is network in every part of this country. An election will be conducted. They should not start sending and questioning the capability and the character of the people in INEC who have sworn to uphold the rule of law and make sure that the Electoral Act work accordingly, which is enshrined in Section 664, Subsection 4, Subsection 5, and Subsection 6 of the Electoral Act that empower INEC to conduct election using electronic means as they deem fit. So therefore, there's no ambiguity at the position of law, there's no ambiguity as regard of morality, but what is appalling is their position saying that probably they are trying to deter the rule of law, circumventing the will of the people, and trampling on the position of law. This will be totally unacceptable by all well-meaning Nigerians. And I say this with all due respect, that all Nigerians should come out in defense of this, the Electoral Act, in defense of INEC against these Sesame Twins who are trying to make sure that we do not have credible election. We are prepared, and the Nigerian youth are prepared, and they are so determined and dogged that they will have a credible election, and we will make sure that anybody who wants to derail this system becomes the enemy of the state. It is better for us to have an election that will be credible, and Nigeria will remain a safe country under the leadership of Peter and Deti Baba Ahmed.
Thank you for that, Dr. Tanko. And speaking of credibility, the selling point for the Labour Party, for the most part, it has been the fact that there's no recycling or cross-carpeting of candidates. It's not old politics. It's a newer, fresher, younger face that maybe might be devoid of some of the scandals that have ruptured parties before. With this, and I sorry to keep bringing it back up, with the the information about Mr. Doyin Okupe and this money laundering conviction, there might be a little bit of work done for reputation management in order to make sure that that perception is still there, that it's not the old politics that's being used and old money circulating around. So can you tell us what the Labour Party plans to do in order to further put in the minds of Nigerians that this party is less corrupt than the other choices that we have on the ballot?
It's the level of accountability that has been shown by our own principal. You see, when they say a fish is bad, it starts from its head. But we have a very well stable fish with a clean, clear head, devoid of any corruption charges. And he has no credibility issue. Neither has he been accused of anything in terms of his parental status or in his work ethics or what he has been able to do for an Ambarians in the micro level, which he intends to transform in the macro level when he ascends power. He has shown passion, he has shown compassion, he has shown determination and doggedness. And no reason, that is why people are trying to find anything against him. I saw a kind of a comic where they are using eyeglass, a microscope, where they are trying to strip him naked and trying to find anything against him. And behold, they couldn't find anything against this particular gentleman. But what they ended up finding is credibility, character, commitment, and resilience, determination, and doggedness in order to take Nigeria out of the wood. As we speak today, we are asking all the obedient movement. Remember, When they started, we started on the social media, and they keep on accusing us that we are only domiciled in the social media. But we moved out of that particular cocoon. We are already on the street. Remember, for the first time in the history of the Federal Republic Nigeria, precisely on the 1st of October 2022, Nigerians youth came out in 40 cities at one time, at the same time, mobilizing for only one person, showing love, convicted and feeling that there's no difference between the north and the south, or from the east or from the west. They were determined to build a movement that will ensure that we have a credible leader coming in 2023. And that particular movement has dovetailed in now to all the units of the 176,846 polling units where Nigerians are being mobilized to build structures along the line. I'm just coming from Kano State. I did the similar thing in my own polling unit. And I want to assure you that you will feel the impact, the obedient movement, and the obedient candidacy in all the polling units of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Just to assure the Nigerian people that we are determined as Nigerian youth, as Nigerian people who have suffered so much disdain from our past leaders who have held it in the shackle of poverty, trying to ensure that Nigeria does not grow. But we say no, Nigeria must grow, and Nigeria must be a united country with prosperity and determination to make us great more than anything, because we have what it takes. We have the land, we have the intellect, we have the people, we have the capacity in the leaders that we are trying to make sure that they come into power. So the Labour Party has done a lot by sensitizing people under the leadership of Barrister Abure, and then his secretary and the National Working Committee, Alhaji Umar Farouk, and everybody that believe in it. And we are determined, anywhere we need to do, we are transparent, we are open, we are not ready, we are not running away from any castigation. If you come out against us and tell us what we have done wrong, we will look at it and put the right thing in, and which is something that you do not get from the past leadership that we've had over the years.
Well, very well said, Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Now, we've also heard reports that some political parties are buying PVCs, harvesting people's data, and there are plans for them to indulge in digital vote buying. Is the Labour Party worried about this? Do you have strategies in place that you think can help you level the playing field so that you can have a successful run in the 2023 election?
Yes, because we are asking the people and we are telling them the decay in the system, what they have suffered so long. We've had this particular information as regard to people selling their PVC 2000. But let them understand and know today that if you sell your PVC, to what use? The person that you sell it to cannot use it at the polling unit because of the BVAS machine. You have to be the person that will vote at that particular polling unit. The truth about it is that if you are selling your vote, yes, we want to understand you are selling your vote. But for what gain? For just a meal of porridge within a short period of time? Look about 133 million that have been adjudged to be in poverty. We are promising you an opportunity to earn dignity with labor. We are promising you that you will earn more than 2,000 naira. You will earn as you work, and you will gain money that is judiciously for you, and nobody, you will not be able to use, if you sell that your vote, you will end up having people who are compromised in the position of leadership. We have seen it in the past 16 and 8 years that these people have run this country aground. So why would you indulge in something that is not going to be productive? This is an opportunity for you to take back your country. The Labour Party is a populist democratic movement where people can come in and flinch and move to their highest peak of life. What we are saying is that Peter Obi has said, 133 million people that are in poverty, come with me. Let us form a new government, a new Nigeria that all of us will be proud of. It's not about him. He has proved that over the years in Anambra State. You are all aware that he left 75 billion naira in the coffers of Anambarian, even though they were trying to find fault with it. But it was coming out and it was confirmed that even the past governor, Willie Obiano, confirmed to his Taraba State governor that it is the money that Peter Obi left in his hand that he used in building the international airport in Oka. So clearly, you have seen prudency, you have seen efficiency, you have seen capacity, you have seen compassion, you have seen determination, you have seen passion in order to give Nigeria a best of country. And that is the domicile in Peter Obi and Deti Baba Ahmed. So why would you give yourself to a position where you know that even selling your vote will not add anything to you as a person? Rather, it will demean you and degrade you. It cannot also be useful in terms of the provision of the Electoral Act. Don't forget, there is also a punitive measures as regard to those who sell their vote and those who buy this vote. So what we will call on the enforcement agency is that to arrest those who have been involved in this particular crime against the dignity of Nigerian people, arrest them and punish them according to the position of the Electoral Act. This will be our own advice and candid advice. Please, Nigerians, we are at a crossroad. It's just like you finding yourself in the deep blue sea. If they give you a two-edged sword, you will hold it. But we are promising you that hold Peter Obi accountable. He's ready to give you a good government that all of us will be proud of.
Well, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, the spokesman for the Labour Party, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and speaking with us.